Hello everyone. So we tried before to go live, it didn't work, but we're going live with Hadassah Eventsur to discuss how she supports mothers in caring for everyday tasks. I really like her mission because I think there are a lot of parents who struggle with everyday tasks and how to care for them. And she supports mothers in a way that is different from what I've heard before. Hey, everybody who's joining. Okay, here we go. Hadassah's here. I'm going to works. Hopefully it does. Oh,
Yay!
it worked. Hi.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Amazing. Okay, I'm so happy it worked.
Yeah, thank
I was right about the updating Instagram, huh?
you. That's fun.
Yeah. Okay. So Hadassah, do you want to introduce yourself? And I mean, I mentioned what we're briefly going to be talking about, but introduce yourself, what your name is, who you are, what you do,
Sure.
and we'll take it from there.
First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I just love you. I love you. I love your platform, your message, everything you do. It helps me with my parenting. I really appreciate you. So thank you so much. And
Oh, thank you.
okay. So my name is Hadassah Eventsur. I'm an occupational therapist for 23 years. I live in Baltimore. I have 5 children. Baruch Hashem, my oldest is a lone soldier, engaged. So,
Oh,
uh,
that's awesome. Wow. Yeah.
um, and I'm also a life coach. And pretty much how this all started, I've been working in geriatrics or adult as an OT, like in rehab for a long time. I also dabbled in pediatrics. And during COVID, I took some time off. I wasn't working for like a year. And I noticed during that time, and just doing research and seeing what was going on Instagram and things like that, a lot of people were seeking diagnoses for ADHD. They may have suspected that they had it for a long time, but then during this time period, things were falling apart for them. And some of them were working, some of them were not. And I started thinking to myself, like, hey, what's going on here? Like, why women diagnoses? Like, why weren't they diagnosed when they were children? Why just now? So I started doing research, and with Hashem's help, he put this in my mind that this is something that is very much needed, support from women who are neurodivergent. Neurodivergent, I'll talk to you a little bit about what that means. When I started doing research, I noticed that there's nothing out there, very little. There are some therapists here and there who work individually with from women who struggle, but there's very little support, and there's almost non-existent community support. And as an OT, I know I've attended a lot of IEP meetings over the years, and I always notice this phenomenon where there would be a whole team of therapists and such, and then the mothers would be sitting there at this meeting, and they would, sorry, so I'm trying to get out. Gotta move my I'm literally sitting in my parking lot of my work, so there you go.
Oh, wait, you need to move the car?
No, it was just blocking some. Okay, so
Okay.
and I noticed that they would have all these expectations of the mother. Make a sensory diet, try this, try that, help them with organization, help them with their executive functioning, right? And I could see their faces. They were just so overwhelmed. And I started thinking to myself, who is supporting these mothers? And when I looked at the statistics, I noticed that about 40% of adults adults who have neurodivergent children, they themselves are also neurodivergent. So if you expect adults to figure it out for their children, a lot of them haven't figured it out for themselves, and there's no support out there for them. And you see it across the board. And I started talking to other women, and many women are struggling. And if you look at Instagram and you look at the magazines, right? A lot of what you see are depictions of perfect kitchens and gleaming white countertops and 5-course meals. You see all these fancy recipes, and it's beautiful, and I love it, and I love that women are sharing and have different platforms. But I felt like this population was not supported, represented, and we were just trying to figure out how to do it on our own. So that's what got me to kind of doing research and trying to figure out what's going on. And I spent 3 years researching, reading books, podcasts. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what was going on. And what I discovered was that pretty much a lot of women have a diagnosis of ADHD. Whether or not they have it, actually, a lot of women have ADHD, but it was missed. The diagnosis was missed. And why? So I said, why is it that women do not get diagnosed when they're younger? And what I discovered was that a lot of women present as the inattentive type of ADHD, which means that they might be spacing out, they might be looking out the window, right? They might be handing in their homeworks late, but they're doing okay in school. Maybe they even have straight A's. Maybe they're getting B's or C's, but they're not disrupting the classes. So nobody, right? They're not like bouncing off the walls, usually, not always, but a lot of times. So there's no like, nobody is
saying it presents differently in women, and because of that, they don't get diagnosed until their child gets diagnosed, and then they realize, oh, I have this too. And what I'm hearing you say is that so much is put on them, like, do this for your child, do that for your child, do that for your child, when these parents themselves are still struggling because they themselves have never gotten support for the fact that they struggle with certain things.
absolutely. And these girls really struggle. They are struggling, even though they're not necessarily acting out or making problems in the classroom. They are struggling. They're trying to hold it together. They're working really, really hard. So many girls want to do well. They really want to do well. And people who have executive functioning challenges or ADHD can hyper focus on what they're interested in. And that's another thing I could talk about in a little bit. And so they oftentimes do well, but things kind of fall apart in unstructured environments. And that's why so many women were struggling during COVID, because there was no structure, because they didn't have that same structure that they're so used to, and they started falling apart. And so these girls get missed. They get missed, and they don't get the support that they need. And then they grow up, and then when they leave the school system, which is more structured, and then they have to find a job for themselves, hand in resumes, right? Show up for meetings on time, and then all of a sudden they're getting married. Some of them, right? Maybe some people may fall apart earlier than that, and other people they get married, they have their first child and their second child, and then they're also working. They're also juggling a million things, and they really, really, really struggle. And then if they're brave enough, they go to the doctor and they say, I'm really struggling. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't understand. And a lot of times the practitioner, the doctor, will diagnose them with anxiety and depression. And anxiety and depression is definitely a comorbidity of ADHD, but it's not the source. Like, it sometimes comes hand in hand, but you gotta treat the source, and it still gets missed even as adults. So I said, oh my goodness, we need to educate. We need to educate women. Women need to understand what's going on. They need to get the support. I also need to educate doctors, practitioners, and teachers, and principals. When you're having an IEP meeting, you gotta ask parents, how are they doing? You know, what's going on for them? They have 1 or 2 or 3 kids that are diagnosed with ADHD. How are they managing? That's something that almost never gets asked. So I said, okay. And I noticed on Instagram that there are some support groups out there for neurodivergent women, but there was nothing geared specifically to the From woman. And it's different. From women have a tremendous amount of responsibilities. They have a tremendous amount of expectations that maybe comes from internally or maybe comes from society, and it's very, very, very challenging. And we want to do it right, we want to do it well, and we want to be patient mothers, and we want to make 5-course Shabbos meals, but our brains work differently. And so we have to honor that, and we have to work with our brains not against our brains. So that's how this whole thing started.
Yeah, so basically what you, if I'm understanding well, is that what you do is that you want to create a support group for and a community for women like this. And as you said, you see that there is such a thing, but there isn't specifically for from women. And that's what you wanted to create. You wanted to create something, a community to support them. Now, what I understand from you is that it's not only a community. It's not just like, oh, let's all talk about our struggles. I think there's more support that you want to give, correct?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. So I created 24 pre-recorded videos. The videos they provide education. You'll start to understand how your brain works and what is going on and what it means to be neurodivergent. Neurodivergent means that your brain works differently than the average brain. If you look at a textbook will have norms that says this is how a typical brain works. If your brain works differently, you are considered divergent. It is not a diagnosis. Neurodivergence is not a diagnosis. It's a very broad catch-all. You got a different brain than the average person. So who fits into this category? I don't know for sure. Definitely women who have ADHD, but it could be anyone who's struggling and knows that their brain just works differently. So, so the first part of the program is education. What's going on in your brain? What are our executive functions? Our executive functions, and we break them down. Our executive functions, they're housed in the front of the brain. And they are the skills that are required to make sure that your actions match up to achieve your goals. So whatever your goal is, I want a clean house, let's say, are your actions matching up to get to that goal? And that's where your executive functions help you to achieve. So it's kind of like a symphony, right? Like an orchestra, right? You have all different types of, you have the violins and the bat, I don't know, I'm not that musical, but you have all different types of instruments. And then you get a conductor there, right? The conductor standing in front and waving his conductor wands or whatever, right? And he's making sure, he's saying, okay, violin, start 10 seconds into this program. Drums, come in soft and then go stronger, right? Viola, you come in at the end, okay? And then everyone at the end, crescendo together, right? So is managing all of this, right? Your executive function, your ability to manage your executive functions. If the conductor doesn't show the conductor, or the conductor is there some of the time, what's going to happen to
Hadassah?
yeah.
Hadassah? Yeah, your connection is not great. It's hard to hear you. It started getting, yeah. The connection is not great. It keeps trying to connect, but I can't really hear you. You're still with us? The connection wasn't great the entire time, but we still heard you. Now it's hard to hear you. Oops. Whoever's hearting it, thank you. It's very sweet. Oh, I hope Hadassah's able to reconnect. Oh no, she left. Maybe she'll rejoin. I don't know. I don't want to stop and start again. Okay, so hi everyone who's still here. Basically what we heard from Hadassah so far is that she noticed that there's a lot of children who are diagnosed with ADHD, and then the parent actually also has ADHD. I think she said 40% of children who diagnose have a parent who is. So, and these parents, mothers specifically, sometimes are struggling and don't have the support that they need. And so she wanted to create support specifically for mothers to have with things that they might be struggling with, whether they're neurodivergent or not. But yeah, if they struggle with everyday tasks and getting them aligned, she did create a community and also courses or classes to support mothers. Okay, she's here again. Let's finish hearing what she has to say. Let's hope her connection is better now.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, you
Hi.
lost connection there. It's okay. I was recapping what you said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, where you left off was basically like if you see yourself as, I think you were saying this, neurodivergent, whatever that means, then this community is for you. And the way you have not only a community, but you also have classes where you start with teaching like psychoeducation. You teach them about their brains and how it functions and how to align their actions with their goals.
Perfect. Yes. And so then we break down the executive function, emotional regulation, attention. And I say regulation for a reason because ADHD is not a disorder of attention, but will
Right. It's a disorder of dysregulation, correct? Like it's a regulation.
regulating your attention. Yes.
Right.
Time management, organization, um, and I'm trying to think what else. Oh, working memory, holding information in your brain for the task that you're doing at the moment, keeping for the short term task. And those are the basic executive functions that we break down and discuss and give strategies for in the program. And then the last part of the program, the practical, real life skills, strategies that work with the neurodivergent brain. We break down how to do dishes, how to do laundry, how to declutter for the neurodivergent brain, how to we do meal planning, we do
Wow.
shopping, we talk about prepare you to get ready for the yontif. We break down the key is to break things down into smaller chunks because otherwise you have analysis paralysis, decision fatigue. Very, very common with people who have executive functioning challenges. So we really, really hold your hands. And not only that, we create community. So you're not doing this alone. There's a WhatsApp chat. There are live Zoom calls every week. There's accountability because you have homework every week. And it's not busy homework. It's not I love journaling and I love vision boards. I think they're wonderful. But if you're already struggling with doing the basic tasks functionally, then you don't have time for vision boards. And that's not anything that's not part of my program. That's deeper healing, and I think it's wonderful. But that's not what I do. Everything that we teach is practical. It's to make your life easier.
Wow.
It's to make you feel more accomplished.
Wow.
It's and then the best part of the program, I think, are what's called body doubling links. These are like Zoom videos that go out every day. You'll have opening duties and closing duties, and meal planning links and other things, whatever it is that we're. It's like a live video that goes out, and all you do is join. And it might be a half an hour long or an hour long, and you are working on a specific task, whatever that task is. You can work on the suggested task, or you don't have to. You can work whatever task it is. But there are a bunch of other women that are working along with you, and studies have shown that when you have a body double doing something, even if it's something else, at the same time as you stay motivated, you stay focused, and you get what you need to get done. So
wow.
there's nothing like this out there.
Wow.
I'm so excited about it. And finally, you will not be alone. If you are struggling, you should not do it alone. And
Wow. Oh my gosh, Hadassah, I have like chills in my body listening to you because I'm just so like touched by how supportive it is, like practically supportive. Like yeah, like I just can imagine if everyone got this amount of support. Like it's so, I love how you like combined it with others. It's not just about everything yourself. Like I think a lot of the strategies that are shared with these type of people who are struggling, they're very well meaning, and I think they're also have their place, but you know, they're like, this is how you should organize, and this is what you should do, and it's like, okay, but like I'm still struggling. Like I don't like I even struggle to do the very first step, like you know, and I feel like this is like you're so much hand holding, so much. I don't know, it's very touching to me, the level of support that you give, really. And I can think of so many people that I know personally, even myself, who this could be supportive for, So, wow, it's amazing what you've created, really.
Thank you so much. And just a disclaimer, you do not have to have any diagnosis at all. You could just be someone who wants more support, who's struggling just with the regular care tasks of life, and you need more support. It's not based on a diagnosis, and we're not treating diagnoses. We are supporting women, finally.
Right. Right. That's what I hear it as. It's like it doesn't even matter. It's like if this speaks to you and this you want this level of support and caring for everyday stuff, then this is for you. And exactly like you're saying, like we're finally just giving support. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yes,
Wow.
right, exactly. We're doing things like, and the other thing is, if you're joining this program to have your home Insta ready and to go in better homes and gardens, that's not the program for you, because that's not my goal. My goal is to create organizational systems that work for your brain, and they're not always beautiful,
Yeah.
but they work.
Wow.
So that's the goal. Function is the goal. Aesthetics is not.
Oh, I love that.
And we want, I know, and if that's important, that's fine. So you'll get a beautiful basket and put it at your front door, because that's where your shoes pile up. You're not putting your shoes back in your closet. If they pile up at your front door, you're going to come up with an organizational system that works, right?
Wow.
And if you have clothes that pile up in your kitchen because that's where your kids decide to get dressed, I don't care, whatever it is, then you put a laundry basket in your kitchen. You make it work for you and your brain, and the goal is function.
Wow.
So really,
I love that. Oh my gosh. This is like I love that. It's like all the values that I stand for or that I love. It's
I
like
love
meeting yeah, it's like meeting people where they're at rather than saying this is how you should be and this is where you should go to. It's like, no, I want to support you to feel that you feel good, that you feel like things are functioning, and let's meet you exactly where you're at and find a system that works for you. Oh, I love that. Like there is no standard. There is no like, you know, your house doesn't have to look like this and it doesn't have to, it just has to function. It just has to work for you and for everybody in it. And there's many, many ways to do that. Wow. Oh my gosh. So like everything you're saying is just really, really, really like I already knew when I spoke to you when you explained it that I love what you stand for, but hearing even more details, I'm like really, I just love, 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 love what you created very much. And I love it. Also, I love, love, love the healing world, right? I think that so, I mean, I continue to go to things like that. I feel like they support me so much. And at the same time, I love what you're providing. I feel like it's new and different. It's like just practically supporting
thank
you.
thank you
Yeah.
so much. And you know what? Hashem gave you your brain, right? And it's nothing to be ashamed of. People who are neurodivergent tend to be extremely creative, out of the box thinkers. I mean, I would have said like 40% of the billion have ADHD. I was actually, it was funny, listening to the Meaningful People podcast, and someone, I love that podcast, and someone had mentioned like, yeah, I think I have ADHD, and the host was like, I think like almost every single person on my podcast class has said that they have ADHD. These are the meaningful people. These are the people that are changing the world. You should never ever feel shame or embarrassed or feel less than because your brain doesn't work like whatever is idealized as the typical brain.
Yeah.
You have strengths, you just have to work with your brain. Complete and total acceptance, love, and this is what you'll get from the group. You'll get for your everybody in the group understands and gets it, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know what I do? I know it's really weird, but I do this." Everybody else may be like, "What? I never thought of that, but that might work for me." You're not going to get that information necessarily from other sources. So
Yes. Wow. I love that. I could just imagine how liberating and supportive it is for so many mothers. It reminds me of like the laundry trend I saw on Instagram or yeah, I saw it once about like these parents found a way to make laundry work for them. And it's like instead of like folding, they just put it into baskets. I remember seeing it for the first time and thinking like, wow, that's amazing and fascinating. Of course, in the comments, they got a ton of judgment from people being like, "Oh, why get out folding?" I'm sure people have their judgments about these things, but it worked for everyone. And it's like, wow, you found a system that works for you, that's functional. The kids know where the things are. Like, and I imagine before that it was way less functional. So, this works for everybody. And it's like, okay, so it's not like you said aesthetically pleasing, who cares? right?
Exactly. What is the goal? To have clean clothes available for myself and my family. And how do
Yes. And that everybody can find their stuff easily and knows where it is, you know? It's just wow. So, okay. So where can people find you, find what you offer? Like where can they, yeah, tell them.
great. So I have a
Tell
website
us.
called mindfullyu.org.
Okay.
It's mindfullyu.org, two L's, two Y's. You can sign up on there. You can sign up for the program. You can sign up, like there's a monthly subscription if you want. It's $100 a month. For the first program, the one that I just launched, is 5 months. I shortened it a little bit just to give people time to sign up after paying. And it's going to go. It launched June 2nd, and it's going to go up until Pesach. Okay, I mean up until Sukkot. Up until Sukkot. It's a
Okay.
5 month, right? 5 month program. You sign up on my website. It's either $100 a month for 5 months, or one-time payment of $400. Or you can choose just to sign up to join the body links. That's another option. So if you don't want to actually join the program, you can sign up just to join these body link calls, which are very, very powerful. And
Oh, the
that's another.
body double.
Yeah.
So you don't have, oh, so you have options. So you can either sign up for the program, which provides everything, like the videos and the community and the body doubles, or you can just sign up to have the body doubles, right?
Yes.
Very,
Yes. Um,
very cool.
and then to have lifetime access to the videos, that's an option that's going to be there eventually, not yet. But for people who actually join the program for another $75, they'll have lifetime access to these amazing videos full of information, full of education, full of practical skills that I've been
Wow.
working on for a long, long time.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and then we're gonna continue to add to it, continue to modify it, maybe in the future. But that's what's available now. So you can sign up mindfullyu.org. You can also sign up through a link on Instagram, mindfully__you. Yeah, that's
Okay, so people can message, so they can reach out to you through Instagram. They can find your profile. They can go to your website, mindfullyu.org, where they'll see the options. And yeah, I think that's.
And if they have any questions and they want to contact me privately, if you message me through Instagram, I can talk to you. I'll give you my number or WhatsApp. We can talk about more in depth. If you have more questions, if you want to make sure that this program is right for you, I am here for you to talk you through it and give you more personal information and tell you a little bit more. And if you have something more specific you want to talk about privately, you can message me and I'll give you my WhatsApp and we can talk.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Hadassah, for creating this and for coming on here to talk about it. And I really hope that parents will take this opportunity, the ones who need it, the ones who can use it. Yeah, so that they can get the support they need.
Thank you so much, Blimi. I really appreciate it. Oh, I just wanted to say one more thing. I do write for the Mishpacha magazine. I'm a contributing editor, so I have columns that I write maybe every other week. So if you want to check that out, it's in the Better Family First. So if you want to check that out,
In the what section and in here?
Better You, it's called.
Oh, okay.
That
So better your section in the family first. You write a column every other week or so.
Yeah, about. So you can kind of get an idea of my style and how I, what is important to me and how I view things. And I think a lot of people have gotten a lot of great feedback about the article. So
Wow. Amazing. Wow. Okay. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining.
thank you.
And I will be saving the video and I'm going to tag you in it so you can keep it also. And hopefully I'm going to upload it to YouTube as well because so more parents can see this.
Oh, thank you so much. And Blimi, thank you for everything you do. Like I said, I really, really use your strategies all the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.